So you must have seen many reviews on the ROG Phone 3 by now, so I am going to do this a little differently. Instead of focusing on the specs and features that you already know about, I'll tell you why the features it offers are important for me and why I bought this over the OnePlus 8 Pro. And I really didn't want to keep this video long, but after crossing the 2500 word mark on the script, I just said f it, so feel free to use the timestamp navigation. The first thing that you will notice about the ROG Phone 3 is how tall this is. It's almost as wide as my iPad mini's screen, with a display that is 19.5 by 9 in its aspect ratio, and it is also significantly taller than my OnePlus 6, which was already a big phone. They probably did this to keep more screen visible when you have it covered with hands on the sides while playing games, but the phone is still quite manageable for me because it is not much wider than other flagships and its sides are actually pretty thin because of its curved shape. Because of its size, it becomes a really great device for watching movies and videos and not only for gaming. The weight is of course another thing that you will immediately notice because this is amongst the heaviest flagships at 240 grams, and this will become even heavier if you apply a tempered glass screen protector on it along with its cover. It is something that I have gotten used to, but this could be the biggest factor that drives people away from buying this phone. But thankfully, the cover they provide in the box is very lightweight, and it also lets you touch the metal body of the phone when you use it. The exposed areas let it dissipate heat easily, and even though the media didn't like how they toned down the gamery aesthetics compared to the last version, I think it looks great once you put its cover on, which most people will do. And you also have a selection of other interesting covers that you can choose from, even though the one they give you in the box is probably the best one. All the space on this phone is very well utilized because in addition to the side bezels that let you hold it easily in landscape, it also packs the front camera, so you won't need to have any punch holes or slide out mechanisms. It lets it have a notification LED, which I like the presence of, and its best feature is of course the excellent front facing stereo speakers, which was one of the main reasons I decided to get this phone. I am not sure if people really understand how much external speakers matter, but these days I watch a lot of short videos and they are in multiple short periods instead of one long sitting, so not needing earphones to watch videos is really amazing. These speakers are even better than I was expecting after watching the reviews. They actually project sound outward towards your ears and it creates a really good stereo effect. They are so good that you can actually feel the soundstage with these speakers with some imaging for instruments, and the balance and separation also makes it feel like the sound is coming from a central unit on the screen instead of two speakers on the sides, which I have never felt on a phone. This also means that you can set ringtones that will sound very loud and musical on these, and talking on the speakerphone on this phone is also a really great experience. The heavier weight is also a result of actual metal heatsink that is connected to CPU and even the battery areas, and they have used actual thermal paste here, which is also interesting to see in a phone. And I think that is why people are complaining about this phone heating up, because it is just transferring the heat from the components to your hands, which is actually a sign of this system working well. The second side USB port on the phone is also really nice to have. It is of course meant to be used for your charger and accessories when the phone is in landscape mode, but I also found that it also becomes very convenient to use when you are using the phone in portrait mode, as the phone charger won't be interfering with your grip, and same goes for the wired audio accessories that you may use with your phone. You can also charge the phone while having a USB device or an earphone plugged in, which can also be super useful, which brings us to the lack of the headphone jack on this third version of ROG phone, which is actually a bigger deal than it seems to be, because on a gaming phone you would want no latency in your audio, so you would want to use wired gear, and if you have something with an L-shaped jack, it also fits in a very weird way with this dongle. But at least one positive side is that the audio quality with the included Type-C to 3.5mm dongle is really good, and it is able to drive my HiFiMan HE4XX really well, which requires a lot of power, and it is much louder and clearer than my OnePlus 6, so I am actually very happy about that. The 6.5-inch 1080p display is of course one of the fastest ones on the market at 144Hz, and after seeing some videos I thought that I won't be able to notice the difference between 120 and 144Hz, but it is a very easy to notice difference that I do find to be significantly better than having a 120Hz display. Also make sure that you are subscribed to the channel with bell icon, because I'll also have a video on this 12,000 rupees gaming mouse which has a joystick. Like 120Hz is great, but 144Hz really makes you go wow when you quickly scroll through the UI on this phone. I have just been switching apps and scrolling on this phone all day because it just massages my eyes in such a pleasurable way that I am just addicted to this now. Even 90Hz looks like a big downgrade in comparison, and 60Hz is of course unusable now. Now, one big issue I felt with this display is that it doesn't get very dim, so if you are trying to use it in a dark room, it is really going to be too bright. You can use an app like Screen Dimmer, but that does affect the colors and contrast on the screen. The display also switches to 60Hz if you set the brightness to 20% or lower, even if you have set it manually to higher refresh rate modes. And this display also faces serious black crush issues with Netflix and other video apps. But Asus has acknowledged some of these issues to be a problem and they are working on fixing it. So I think that they should be able to fix this, at least with Netflix, and I'll have the updates about this in a pinned comment, so make sure that you read that. Other than that, this is a really good display that can be very color accurate. It supports HDR10+ and it gets plenty bright to be readable outside, and the contrast ratio on its OLED screen also makes everything look really great. You can quickly change the screen refresh rate from the quick settings menu, which is great, and this can actually be overclocked to 160Hz by a trick that I will link to in the video description. The face unlock does its job very fast, and the optical in-display fingerprint sensor also works well, though it did miss my registered thumb a couple of times, so I didn't mind the older technology. The excellent vibration motors was a big step up from my older phone, and it really makes this phone feel high quality. I have to type a lot on my phone, so the tight vibrations from this motor really make that experience enjoyable. And it is close to the vibration motors you have in iPhones. Coming to the software, I have some very good and some not so good things to say about it. So for gaming, Asus has really designed an exemplary software experience that other phones are not able to touch. The air triggers are very customizable and let you do all kinds of things on the screen, and all the high performance modes for consistently smooth gaming experience are also great. And while for everyday use this software is good, I think that they could have made some small changes to make this even better. So they do have the functionality that lets you set different refresh rates for different apps, but it's not possible to use it in a simple way with apps that are not games, because you will have to set regular apps as games, but that is not possible for some apps like Netflix. And you also get the unnecessary overlay of gaming UI sometimes. It is a similar case with the theme app, because while it allows you to have a stock theme set, which is nice, it doesn't let you change the accent color in the UI without also applying these not so good themes, many of which are actually paid even after being low quality. The air triggers could also have been better utilized for general use. While you can enable them in most non-gaming apps and use it to do things like scrolling in landscape by setting macros, which is crazy to see on a phone, this is not possible in portrait mode. So for example, many people wanted to use these triggers for actions like scrolling, but that is not possible. But you can at least assign an action to a phone squeeze, which basically uses the single layer trigger on the side while cleverly making it look like there are sensors on both sides. And this is quite useful for launching Google Assistant or switching auto rotate, and I also like it a lot for launching flashlight with a long squeeze. But then you don't have a great customization on the screen navigation buttons like on OnePlus phones. So all these little things just make me feel like the user experience could have been improved with some small tweaks. Focusing on a more positive side, the camera on the phone is really good, and not just for a gaming phone. The primary camera performs well in most conditions, even though it doesn't have OIS and other flagships may have better dynamic range. The wide-angle camera is nice if you just want to view images on a phone without zooming in, or if you just want to share on social media, but its quality is not as good as the primary camera. The macro camera is kind of useless in my opinion, as you can get very similar photos with just taking it with the main camera and zooming in, so I wish that they would have just not included it and made the wide-angle camera better. I linked to the excellent photo compare tool that GSM Arena has, and you can see that it is not far away from a Galaxy Note 20 or iPhone 11 Pro. There could be slightly more noise in some areas compared to Samsung, but it is not that visible unless you are zooming in. The bigger difference that you will see compared to other phones in this range is if you also want to have a good telephoto, wide angle or a macro camera, where you will find the more expensive flagships and the OnePlus 8 Pro to be better. But overall, the camera experience of this phone is really good, and unless camera is your top priority, this phone will deliver very well. The selfie camera is also great, and the 8K video recording is something that everyone has said great things about, and this is a sample of that. Now the battery life on this phone is of course a very big highlight because the 6000 mAh number is insane. I was able to get 10 hours and 34 minutes, which included 100 minutes of phone calls, and that drained the battery to 7%. I did have the screen at 90Hz and it was at 30% brightness, and I mostly used Facebook, WhatsApp and browsed internet. But a 10-hour plus screen on time is just insane, and this could easily last for 2 days for most people. Then on the second day, I set it to 144Hz to see if that would drain the battery faster. And again, I was able to get 7.3 hours screen on time with the battery still at 32%. So you really don't need to use lower refresh rates to get great battery life. The battery health preserving features on the phone are also great to have. And while it does charge very fast with the included 30-watt hypercharger, you can also enable slow charging and limit it to 90%. And that should let this battery hold more charge after 1 or 2 years. The pass-through mode also allows you to power this phone from USB power while gaming without stressing your battery. The performance of the Snapdragon 865 Plus is of course the best, and it has ample amount of RAM and storage even on the cheapest variant without aero cooler. So this phone is really not going to slow you down in any way, especially with its ultra-fast UFS 3.1 storage, which makes app launches quick. This is also the best gaming phone right now with all its dedicated gaming focused features. I play most of the games on my PC because it has more RGB, but 2D gaming on phone is something that I really like, and in that area, this phone is of course excellent. The air triggers just have everything that you would imagine needing from a feature like this, and they have really thought about everything that they could have in this area. It of course has the ROG logo at back, which is bright and customizable, and you can quickly toggle it from the quick settings menu, so it is a nice party trick to have even for grown-up adults. So overall, the 50,000 and the 58,000 rupees variants being sold in India are a really good value for money. I really think that the overall package here makes this phone truly amazing for everyday use, because the features it offers like the 144Hz screen and the front stereo speakers really add to the everyday smartphone experience and not just to the gaming experience. I chose this over the OnePlus 8 Pro because I really dislike curved screens, and I wanted good stereo speakers along with extra features that we have on this phone. And while the camera and software on the OnePlus 8 Pro will be better and it has a sharper display, this phone is also good in those areas, so these are minor compromises for me. OnePlus 8 Pro also has wireless charging and a water resistance IP rating, which you don't have on this phone, so you will have to decide how important that is for you. So I hope that this video was insightful in understanding why the ROG Phone 3 is one of the best phones for the technology enthusiasts. I'll have links in the video description if you are interested in buying it. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it or a thumbs down if you disliked it, and let me know your thoughts about this phone in the comment section below. Subscribe with bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.